Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Steve Good pattern. It's a small wall shelf. It can be used for many small knickknacks and or candles, but I don't recommend real candles. I recommend the battery operated style. I believe the piece of wood that I used for this project is pine. It was a piece of rough cut lumber that I planed and got to a point of workability. I'm not an expert at planing and or sanding or any of that there good stuff, but it's a workable piece. Now what I found was while cutting this, it was super smooth and super easy, of course, and I was using a number 7 blade because that's what was in the saw. I quickly found out that it was much too aggressive for such a soft wood, and there was a couple times throughout the project early on that it just sailed right off the lines. Frustrating, yes. Did it ruin the actual project? Not really, because you can't tell where it is now that it's put together. So what I ended up doing is changing the blade to a number 3. No, number 1, sorry. And I still had a little bit of an issue with overshooting the lines, but then I realized, because I was using hardwood for quite some time, I did not adapt to a softwood. I know the difference, but with hardwood you can maintain a firm hand on the cutting and turning, etc. With softwood, that's a whole different, it's a much more gentle approach. There's no need to be real forceful in any way when you're cutting softwood. So it was almost like I had to relearn how to cut again, which is fine. I'm starting to remember a lot of these things, but you know, as I keep going on my journey, this will become second nature when I switch from wood to wood. I have used softwoods in the past, but nothing quite this soft. So there were several things I had to do different. Obviously, make sure I have the correct blade. Much gentler handling of the piece while I'm cutting. I also had to slow down the speed to accommodate my speed. As I'm getting older, I'm not as quick on turns. I'm not as efficient following these lines continuously. So by slowing down the speed, I slowed down everything that I had to do to make these cuts, which it worked out really well. Did it take a little bit longer to cut the piece? Yes, it did, but it was not nearly as noticeable as far as time. It wasn't, you know, like an hour longer than it should have been. It just was a slower cut for me. As I mentioned here and there in other videos, I do belong to a lot of Facebook groups for scroll sawing, and there's a lot of new people coming into these groups that are asking all the same questions I was asking early on, at least in my mind. And a lot of it is, yes, they can offer you a lot of clear, concise advice, but there's nothing that can replace actually doing it and maybe trying something different at your end. If you feel that a bit of advice that you were given just isn't working for you, try to modify it, maybe doing a little bit different. If it's the blade, maybe trying a different blade. If it's the speed of your machine, maybe trying a different speed. You know, don't be afraid to do something different. Don't be afraid to try things. What's the worst case scenario? You ruin your project? Well, yeah, I've ruined plenty, and I knew that was going to happen when I started this. So that really wasn't so much an issue for me, other than I'm a perfectionist, and it did bother me that I ruined projects. But, you know, I also have a clear understanding that that's all part of this process. As I was cutting through this pattern, I truly didn't like it, the pattern itself. I tried to make little teeny adjustments here and there, and for some reason it just didn't appeal to me. But I do have to say, once it was completed, sanded, and put together, I really like how it turned out. I do like the pattern. I like the design itself. I just wasn't fond of it as I was cutting it. Now my circles there that you see that have to be cut out, oh, those were not circles when I was done with them. And I realized also the end game, the end result, you don't even notice that. It's all part of the whole project. So if you're going to scrutinize it, you're going to see it. They're not perfect circles. A lot of the curves and the different points that I'm cutting now weren't perfect. But an overall package, and you'll see at the end, the overall package, it looks really, really nice. I was pleasantly surprised. I will most likely not use this type of wood for one of these shelves because I do want to make more because I like them. I'm most likely going to use a hardwood for this. It's super lightweight. I'm not fond of that for something that's going to hang onto the wall. To me, it's too light. But again, all these patterns that I'm doing for these videos are all first-time patterns. They're all experiments to me, and I'm just sharing the things I'm discovering about scroll sawing and different things problems, issues that I come up with that I can share with others that are new to this hobby. After this section here that would even it up with the section on the other side, I did walk away from this for a day. I was so frustrated with how it was cutting, being so soft, and walking away from this really helped me out a lot so that I could just relax, know that I need to be patient, know that I need to take my time. I actually slowed down even more once I started this part of the pattern, and I found that I was much more in control of what was going on. By the time I got to the day before, I've had enough. I mean, that really is the bottom line. I had just had enough. And as a hobby, I want to enjoy it. And I realize there's many times that I have to walk away from what I'm doing so that I don't get to the point where I don't enjoy this anymore. I did spend the entire week prior completing a couple of orders. There were several Tree of Lives, a couple of Angels, and the nice thing about doing a pattern repeat for a second, third, fourth time is you become very good at cutting that particular pattern, because some of the mistakes you made the very first time or some of the challenges you came up against the very first time, you're able to do different afterwards. So by the time I got to the fourth Tree of Life, I had actually mastered several issues that I had with some of the cuts, that the whole thing was done in less than 2 hours, and that was the shortest I have ever done the Tree of Life. It was minimum 3. So it helps repetition. While I don't mind doing several more shelves, I'm probably only going to do 1 or 2 more for myself. I don't want to keep doing them over and over again if there's no need that somebody might not want them. I could do them as gifts. There's a lot of gifts I have that I'll be giving away in the near future, because I have a lot of stuff that I have made that's just sitting in a tote. Well, a crate, so to speak. So, you know, the videos, I'm trying to do something different every week. A different pattern, a different skill level, some simpler, some more advanced. While this piece of wood wasn't exactly a 1/2 inch wide, I think it was a hair bit more, it all went together pretty well. I didn't have to make any adjustments on the cuts to accommodate that. I truly believe if you're going to start this hobby, set yourself up for disappointment. Lower your expectations. Lower your need to be perfect. Just go with your flow and do what feels right, because this really is a hobby that you have to go a lot by feel. How it feels, how the cutting feels to you, how the blade feels to you, the turning, everything. It's just a feeling that you get, and that's starting to help me more and more now because I'm paying attention to that. When I first did this, it was all structured in my mind. Oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. I was like overthinking everything. All the advice I got, trying to remember what everybody said about all these different things I was having challenges with. Just relax. Choose simple patterns. I chose a lot of very difficult patterns at first, but that's how I am. Um, and that's okay. It's all okay. In the grand scheme of things, keep at it. Walk away when you get frustrated or annoyed or make mistakes. Just walk away. Next week, I'm planning on doing a live stream. It's my birthday that day, 4:20, and it'll be at 4:20 in the afternoon. But as y'all know, the best made plans don't always happen. But for right now, that's what I'm wanting to do. So I would hope to see y'all there. If you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel. And as you can see, this finished product turned out really well. I was very happy with the look and the style of this shelf. On that note, may God bless you all each and every day. Take care.